Christmas, you fucks! It's the Bootleg and Joe Show.
Oh, fuck yeah!
They don't really know each other.
This was supposed to be a joke, but fuck it, now they're here to bring you holiday cheer! Motherfucking holiday cheer, bitch! It's the Bootleg and Joe! Holiday Spooktacular Christmas Movie Review Show! Woo! Presented by DWN Productions in association with Fast Custom Shirts. Sponsored by the Hordecast and Power Sports Mafia. Now sit back and enjoy the show. It's time for Bootleg and Joe!
Oh my.
Well,
We're back.
well. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, buddy. It is our 8th annual Christmas Spooktacular where we talk about it. This is a tradition we started 8 years ago, and I'm glad we're both still around to continue this.
You don't see it, but I got the Yule log on the TV because we don't have a fireplace in the trailer court.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Well, whatever you got to do to celebrate, and that's what this show is all about, is to showcase Christmas in all its varied traditions and celebrations.
I suppose. I thought it was Halloween still. That's why I'm in orange.
Oh, okay. Well, orange, like if you can adjust the color stuff on your phones or devices or whatever, you can make that into a red. So those of you watching, all one of you, and thank you. We got Tom from DWN Productions handling the technical stuff for us. So thank you, Tom. As some of you may or may not know, Tom just recently spent some time in the hospital, and I'm glad that he's recovering, doing this from his sick bed.
With a cup of hot chocolate with plenty of marshmallows.
Mm-hmm. Which is what I'm having. No, I'm having some apple cider, because it is the holiday season. There may be a little bit of spiced rum in it, because that's the way I like my apple cider.
I had to retire from drinking because I work nights.
Well, you're a quitter.
That's another way to put it.
Yeah. Working nights, yeah. So, will you be working Christmas night?
No, actually, they gave us that one night off. But hey, no, actually, it's Christmas Eve into Christmas we have off. But then we got to come back fucking Christmas night.
Christmas night, because at midnight it will no longer be Christmas again.
Exactly.
Right. It's just another regular day on the 26th. But yeah, so those of you who have not tuned into this the past 7 years, we talk about some Christmas entertainments that we've watched, and we dissect them and review them, and are they appropriate for what kind of audience would like this, and you've been watching quite a few, haven't you, old Bootleg?
I got a list here.
Well, check it twice and start with the first one on that list.
All right, I'll start it all off. Joe, I watched the ALF Christmas special from season 2, episode 12. This was not what I expected either. I expect going into this thinking, well, Alf, he's funny. It's going to be funny, right? Actually, it was much sadder than I thought it was going to be.
Ooh.
Alf and the family go out to a cabin in the woods, and I thought this was a great setup for something spooky. Alf ends up ruining the gifts that the family got for each other because he saw them get wrapped or whatever. And he doesn't understand the idea of Christmas and wait until you get your gifts and unwrap them. And, well, Dad gets mad and tells Alf to go for a walk. So he does. And then the guy that owns the cabin, apparently, he lost his wife and he was feeling very down. Wanted to give the deed to the cabin to the family. They didn't really want to accept the gift because they didn't feel like they, that's just too much. We can't take that. And then Alf gets stuck in the back of this guy's car. And lo and behold, he plays Santa at this kid's hospital where this little girl, Joe, this broke my heart. This little girl was not going to see another Christmas. So it was up to Alf to try and cheer her up. He had to break kayfabe here, Joe. He had to stop pretending to be a toy and come out and say, hey, no, I'm really a real thing. I'm like an alien or whatever. But he didn't really come out and say he was straight up an alien. He acted more like he was like some kind of Christmas spirit or something, like, oh, I'm going to make sure everything's okay. Even though I'm a clumsy oaf and I'm a silly alien. And the family shows up. So she gets to spend a Christmas with the family. But they end the episode, sir, with just this slow, drawn look at the girl up in the window waving at them with a tear in her eye. And it's like, no, they didn't. They just left us with the thought of, well, she didn't make it to another Christmas. And it was sad, man. It was sad. Oh, and they also threw a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life in there because the guy that was playing the Santa that lost his wife was going to jump off of a bridge. But I was pretending to be that Christmas spirit, come up and told him, you can't do that. There's too many people that depend on you, blah, 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 blah. Got him to stop. And, yeah, it all worked out. In the end, everybody assumed he was just some Christmas spirit. And he got away with not getting caught as, an alien for the episode. And all in all, it had a good ending, but a bad ending. I'll cross that one off now.
So you mentioned that the Alf is not from around here. If I remember correctly, he's from a planet called Malmac or something, right?
Mm-hmm. And they eat cats.
Yeah, they eat cats. Does he ever mention any like equivalent to Christmas that they maybe have on Malmac?
I can't remember.
All right, that's a fair answer,
Honestly, because I was blown away by how depressing the episode was when it was Alf, dude.
Did they sing any carols?
Yes. It was like, whoa, dude. They went really dark with that episode. It was like, man, that poor girl. That's all I could think about at the end of it. It's like, yeah, he saved the old man. Yeah. And the old man was like, you know what? I'll keep my deed, and you guys can continue to come out to this
Yeah, unfortunately.
Anytime you want.
Yeah, people
die. The little girl's still gonna die.
And Christmas Eve, people die. I've gone through that. And it's like, way to go, way to fuck up Christmas. So yeah, they don't have Christmas on Malmac or wherever Alf is from. And you know where else they don't have it, Bootleg? On Eternia. Are you familiar with this world?
No, this is going to be nice because I grew up watching Masters of the Universe.
Right, yes. This is the He-Man a Christmas special. And this was like an hour-long thing. I don't know if it came out on prime time or what, but He-Man was a cartoon that was put out there to fucking sell toys, and
they were cool toys.
I guess if you like bodybuilders, they're pretty cool. Bodybuilders without articulation, but I guess that's kind of realistic because when you see bodybuilders, they can't really fucking bend their fucking elbows or anything. So yeah, on old Eternia, what's going on? They're about to throw this big party. Everybody is gathering around. He-Man's sister, She-Ra. I didn't know they were brother and sister because I'm not as well versed in the lore as you might be, me being from a different generation and all. Well, they're having this party, but meanwhile, they're also going to test out this rocket, kind of like the Fantastic Four. and there's this like little weird gnome wizard named Orko, and he gets on the rocket and kind of fucks something up, and gets launched onto that, and old Skeletor and his minions start attacking and shit, and I don't know. Orko tries some spell or something, and I guess he's not very good at magic, and he just fucking warps himself to Earth. Earth, that's our world, and it's winter time, and he crash lands and meets two Hispanic kids, and they take him to the house, and it's Christmas, so he's learning about Christmas and shitty backgrounds because it's really cheap animation. Meanwhile, He-Man and She-Ra, they're fighting off like every goddamn Masters of the Universe villain pops up. There's a skunk, and they've got original names for these people. His name is Stinkor, the skunk. There's a guy with a bunch of heads. He's a good guy. He's Manny Faces. Get it? Manny Faces. And there's a dude with a big fucking glove, and his name is Fisto. This is some crazy shit.
Probably stay away from that guy.
Yeah, they bring the goddamn Orko and the kids back to Eternia. They warp back somehow, and they're teaching everybody about Christmas. And you know who else, aside from our heroes, learn a little bit about Christmas? Old Skeletor. He gets a little bit of the Christmas spirit, and he's gonna like kill some little animal or leave some little animal to freeze to death, but he just can't do it. Oh, what's wrong with me? He's got a weird voice for a villain. There's some other villain in there too that's like a rival to Skeletor. I forgot this dude's name.
Is that Hordak?
Hordak. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Hordak and all his whores are there. She-Ra fights a pretty cool looking giant robot, but beats it pretty quick, and I don't know, they win the day, and Eternia fucking celebrates Christmas. And old Prince Adam, who I think he's kind of on the, little funny side, he dresses up like Santa, so it's a rousing good time. Everybody's happy, and the villains go back to their place, and some weird shit, man. Weird.
It makes me wonder if they took a little bit of this plot device of going to Earth for the Christmas thing and kind of like sprinkled that in on the movie, because the movie they actually leave Eternia and go to Earth with the key that plays like a guitar when you press those things on it. Yeah.
I remember very little of the movie. I remember Skeletor looking pretty cool, but then everything else was like really, really shitty. Not that this is like I never thought this was a cool toy line or anything. Sorry, I know you did. Was Orko a toy too?
Yeah, I do believe he was one of the only ones that really didn't do anything special. He just had the movable arms, and he floated. He looked like he had like a skirt looking thing that flowed down, but most of the He-Man action figures had a theme to them. Like the mosquito guy had blood that you push a button on his back and blood would pump in his chest, or like the Manny faces had the different faces, and that's what made it cool for kids. It was like having a fidget device with an action figure.
And they had like play sets and vehicles and all that.
Oh yeah, I had the Skeletor set, or the what was it, the Castle Grayskull thing. And then they had the fucking Snake Mountain fucking thing with the fucking claw, and you get the slime and you fucking pour it on the fucking, it was dope. For us kids in the 80s.
Did you get that for Christmas?
Yeah, I think I did get that for Christmas, the Castle Grayskull.
It all ties in. This is all, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I do believe that's exactly when it was when I got it, because I was always, every time we went to a video store, I'd rent, even though I've seen these episodes over and over again, I want to rent a He-Man tape.
So this special, if anybody wants to relive their childhood or see how kind of bizarre this thing is, it is streaming on, I believe I watched it on the Tubi, the old Tubi reliable channel.
I'm gonna have to go check it out now because I spend a lot of time on Tubi, more than I do Shudder, actually.
If it's not on that, it was the Roku channel, but those are kind of sister channels in my eye.
Okay.
Kind of like He-Man and She-Ra are sisters.
Sisters. Don't let old Jake Juggalo hear you say that. Old Joe. All right. So, speaking of old fucking holiday memories, man, check this out. I watched 8-Bit Christmas. This one had that kid that fucking was a doctor in the 80s.
Dougie Hauser or Dougie.
Yes.
One of those two.
Yes, he's grown up this time, and he's got a daughter, which is kind of weird because I'm pretty sure he was a
Prince Adam.
Yes, he was a Prince Adam. That's nothing against the guy. He's really funny though. This movie actually, it was a good time. Wasn't anything special about it. It's just a really cool story about kids in the 80s wanting that Nintendo so bad because it was the toy to have when you were a kid in the 80s. Yeah, you wanted some action figures, but that was like an appetizer. You know what I'm saying? That was your salad before your steak and potatoes. When you got your steak and potatoes, it was a damn NES in the fucking 80s, man. That's what you wanted for Christmas. You were the cool kid on your block or your town, depending on how big your town was. Just like in this movie, there's a rich kid. He's the only one with the NES, first one to get a Power Glove, all this cool stuff. So everybody would go to his door to want to hang out with this kid just because he had a Nintendo, even though he was insufferable to be around. Now, he has this incident happen where nobody can come over and play NES with him anymore, and everybody in town wants to ban the NES. So every time they try to win one or whatever the case is, the parents are like, no, you can't have the NES. But, Joe, of course there's going to be a happy ending. Near the end of the movie, much like A Christmas Story, which I thought was kind of neat that they did this because not too many other movies try to pull it off because they know they get called out for it. But 8-Bit Christmas did it. There was one more package left that they didn't find till later on, and by God, it was his Nintendo. And it made everybody happy.
Did they sing any Christmas carols in this movie?
Actually, I take that back. It wasn't a Nintendo. He actually didn't get the Nintendo for Christmas, but he did save up the rest of the fucking year and get it for himself, and he earned it. Sorry for the fake out, but I thought that's where they were going to go with it because they were looking around and he kept on looking for. I was like, oh, are they going to go for that ending? Because that'd be kind of cool if somebody actually tried to do something like that. But no, in the end, he was like all fucking sad because he didn't get his Nintendo. And it's weird because the other big toy at the time was Cabbage Patch Kids. And he actually helped his dad find a Cabbage Patch Kid for his sister when they were sold out. So he felt gypped, man. And the dad was played by a pretty funny guy too. I can't remember his name, but he was one of Pie Fucker's friends in Saving Silverman, along with Jack Black, the guy that was the exterminator guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. I think he's pretty funny in some stuff. So he was actually pretty cool as the dad in this. But pretty good movie to watch with your kids if you want to watch a movie. And if you wanted a Nintendo when you were a kid, worth a watch.
David Allen Greer, I think is that guy's name. But so you said he saved up and eventually got a Nintendo.
Yeah, that was like kind of the point of the story is that he was like trying to tell her and she wanted him to end it with a good, thing. He's like, well, no, it's just we couldn't do it. It was impossible to get. I didn't get one for Christmas.
Did he get the Nintendo though? And then he looks over and everybody has the Super Nintendo now.
Dude, irony is, man, if that's the truth, my parents did that to me. We got a Nintendo after Super Mario 3 came out in like 92, 91, something like that. And by then, yes, Super Nintendo was out. I had a Sega Genesis at my dad's house, so I was playing Sega Genesis over there, playing the newer games. But man, at my mom's house, we were behind the times, so I was still playing Legends of Zelda at my mom's.
Having to clear that same screen over and over again. Fuck that.
Fun. It was fun. I did what I had to do.
Well, I went even further back and I went to the 70s and watched an episode of the show Bewitched. Are you familiar with this TV show?
You may think this is funny, but my experiences with Bewitched was Nick at Night.
I don't think that's funny. But anyway, so season 7, episode 13 was a Christmas episode. And they did Christmas episodes just about every year. And, you know, when I'm looking at weird shit to watch for Christmas, hey, you know, this episode, it's mind-boggling. It's, you know, it's crazy that they did this on TV. All right, so watch this episode. This is later on. They have a kid. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, this show is about a dude, you know, regular guy, you know, suburban, you know, got a good job and shit. He's an ad man. He's in the advertising agency. He married a lady that turned out to be a witch. And a bunch of the gags in the show were just like them trying to hide her witchy powers, you know, from the regular folks. And then sometimes her witch relatives would show up and like, oh, how are they going to screw up now? Anyway, this is at the end. They're running out of steam. They brought in a baby at one point. Now she's a little girl and she's got witch powers too. Well, there's a big ad campaign that they're trying to get, you know, and you know, it's leading up to Christmas. The Stevenses, that's their name. They're gonna throw a Christmas party, and they're gonna invite this guy over, you know, meet him then, try to schmooze him and do all that. Meanwhile, little Tabitha, that's their kid, is gonna have her first sleepover, and it's a guy, you know, it's a kid of a guy that works with Darren at the advertising agency, and she's all excited because this is her best friend, although I don't think they ever introduced this girl until now. Now, here's the deal. Here's the caveat. Remember, this is the 1970s. The little girl is black. Yeah, the couple that's working, or the guy that's working with him, he's a black dude, you know, and Tabitha, you know, no racism in the Stevens family. They don't, you know, it's all right. Yeah, you're going to stay here or whatever. You're going to have fun. And Tabitha's like, man, I wish you were my sister. And they go to the park and some other kid tells them, y'all can't be sisters because you're white and she's black, you know. And that upsets Tabitha, man. So she does a thing where she turns herself black. So she's in blackface, you know, but she's a little girl. She doesn't understand, you know, and then, well, let's do something else. We'll make ourselves equal. So they're both like kind of like in polka dots, you know. She's got some brown polka dots. And the other girl has some peach polka dots on her, you know, and then she doesn't want to switch them back, you know. But before that happened, before the polka dot incidents, the guy that they're trying to get the ad campaign from, he goes to visit early, and the little girl that's visiting, she answers the door, and this guy's like, what? Darren Stevens is married to a black lady, you know, and he's you know, he doesn't want to give him the ad campaign anymore. Dude's kind of racist, you know. But Tate, the guy that owns the place, he says, nah, come on over, you know, it's misunderstood, come on over to the party. The guy does, and he shows more racism there. He thinks the little girl's mom is Darren's wife, you know, and he's like talking to her, and he's not being real shitty, but kind of shitty. And Tabitha gets kind of pissed off at it, and like she makes him see everybody as like the opposite of their race. So he's freaking out, and he even sees himself, you know, as black in the mirror. And so it trips him out, man. It trips him out, and like he doesn't know what to do. He gets the fuck out of there. The Mr. Tate says, hey, we don't want your business, dude. Just get out. And the whole thing with this is like all the blackface and everything. The people that were writing those articles on the internet, I don't know, they found it offensive or whatever, but it wasn't. It wasn't offensive. It was just, you know, it was done like to teach this guy a lesson. It was done showing the innocence of the little girls. You know, they weren't racist. They didn't see anything like that. They just wanted to be sisters. So it was really cool. This guy gets to come and apologize and spend dinner with them, and you know, he learned a lesson about racism. And like I watched this with my wife, and then she looked up some like, well, like what was the deal? Like what was the reaction to this episode? But she found that this episode was written by like a 10th grade class in the inner city. And it was one of the lady that played the Bewitched witch. It was her favorite episode in the whole thing. You know, she said, because it did, you know, confront racism in not a demeaning way or anything like that. So I was expecting some bizarre shit, you know, but it wasn't. It was I don't know, it was just good. It was something like, wow, that's impressive that they made something that meaningful, you know, show that's like a comedy or whatever. So yeah, give that a watch, those of you all out there, you know, and then go to these websites where people are looking for shit to be offended by and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Hell yeah. So, Joe, were you a Bewitched guy or were you a Dream of Genie guy?
I think it was more Bewitched because it was more on syndication back where I lived. You know, I rarely got to see Dream of Genie, but Genie had that costume, you know, so that was sexy. But
yeah, you didn't see too many belly buttons back then
right,
on TV.
Older, I still think Elizabeth Montgomery that played the lady on Bewitched, I still think she's beautiful. You know, really gorgeous woman.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So I watched a Nickelodeon Christmas special, very short. This was only a 45-minute thing. This was Albert the Christmas Tree. So, you know, I had to throw an animated show in there. So this one's like, you know, just like your typical Toy Story CG animated movie. Albert's a tree that has grown up in a plant store and once has dreams of being the biggest Christmas tree, even though he's just a little guy and he looks much more like the Peanuts Charlie Christmas, you know, or Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah. So anyway, I said that backwards. Albert goes out on a mission to go become the Christmas tree. He wants to go to New York, but first he wants to go out and meet the other trees to see if he could get some advice or get, you know, basically a okay to do so. He goes, but on his way he meets this cactus who hates Christmas. This cactus is Cactus Pete. Cactus Pete is always indoors at this restaurant. He loves being indoors because it's nice and warm. People take pictures with him. He's like like when people go to a tourist spot and they get a picture at this place, he would be the person or the thing that they would get their picture with. But on Christmas, Joe, they send him outside in the cold and they bring a Christmas tree in his spot. So by God, he hates Christmas and Christmas trees. So when he finds out that this little branch, because in this story, all plants can talk, sir, he gets his buddies, the rest of the cactuses, to go after him. Now they get away from them, but Cactus Pete becomes like a serial stalker in this. He literally does not let up. It gets to a point that they get to the tree place where they cut the trees down for Rockefeller Center, and the little tree's out there. And I forgot to mention, the little tree has a little girlfriend who's a palm tree. And this little palm tree, she has to be warmed up constantly, sir, or she'll die. Because she's a palm tree, you see.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get to the field. They find the tree that they're going to cut down for it. And he ends up in the lumber yard. Because, of course, when you cut down a tree, it goes to a lumber yard. Cactus Pete chases him there. Well, Cactus Pete gets sawed up inside the lumber mill. But somehow, some way, he pieces himself back together. He's all mutilated looking. It literally looks like they thought, hey, let's take like monster house, and instead of destroying a house and making it come back looking like a dog monster, we'll take a cactus and chop him up and mutilate him, make him look all messed up, and he's still going to keep coming. It was pretty cool. They even put cactus blood on the saw blades and a trail of it coming out of it when they show him leaving. It's great. And then at the end, by God, they get there. They find out the tree is just a little too short. So Albert gets to be the top of the tree because something happens to it, cuts the top off of it. He gets to sit on the top of the tree and hold the top ornament, the star, on top of him. So part of his dream does actually come true, which is amazing. All in 45 minutes, dude.
And then what?
Oh, and Cactus Pete actually, when he sees this happen, it changes his heart, much like the Grinch and much like Skeletor. And he starts to love Christmas.
Yeah, but the Christmas tree, like, did they show after Christmas how they just throw them on the curb?
No, actually. I mean, they showed his triumph. I think eventually he gets back to the actual tree store where he was from because they show all the other trees, celebrating, having fun and stuff.
Yeah.
And, but no, they don't show it like that. Like, they don't show just the old dried up tree thrown on the side of the curb, which would have been a great ending, though. My daughter used to watch this on repeat constantly when she was little, along with Pippi Longstocking movie and Matilda. And this is a shout out to her. Willow, that one's for you. I know you loved Albert the Christmas Tree, so there's your Christmas review for you, sweetheart.
All right, that's awesome, man.
Oh yeah.
So you growing up, were you guys a real Christmas tree family or artificial?
No, we always had real until I'd say, in the 80s, it was all real. You went out and you actually went to a tree place and you got a tree in the 80s. It wasn't, a artificial tree was actually a bit of a luxury before they were, but they still looked like crap. They don't look like they do now with all the fancy, gimmicks on them and the fucking fake snow and everything else. But yes, sir. For the most part, it was real trees all the way up until, I'd say the early, being 92, 93, 94, they started, being more accessible with the fake ones.
Yeah.
I think my grandparents were the first ones to get a fake tree because they just didn't want to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, who does, man?
Right.
All that shit falling all over the place,
Cats fucking with it too. If you got cats, they fucking won't stay out of the tree.
Gotta keep the water going and everything. Yeah, I guess around the 90s, is when my family got their first fake tree or whatever. But I remember on the real trees that, and I don't even know that they still sell this shit, the tinsel, those little strings of silver fucking, and you just throw them here. Man, that stuff looks so shitty. It made a tree look shitty.
And it made a mess all over your floor that you had to just sweep up.
Fucking did, man. Did you all have a star that you would put on top? The same.
We had an angel.
An angel. All right.
Yes, we had an angel that was holding it looked like the sun. Now that I remember, it looked like it was holding the sun and the sun would glow. And this angel was in a white, flowy thing with golden wings.
Yeah. I don't remember what was on top of ours, probably some Catholic bullshit, but I was the angel in our family. We didn't need that on a tree, you see.
Right on.
Yeah.
It was good, man. I remember lights real well because that was my favorite part of Christmas. Anybody ever ask me what I liked about Christmas the most, I'll be like, oh, man, I like going around seeing the lights.
In the chat here, Beezus, says they strung up stale popcorn. No, we never did that. If popcorn was going to be in the house, we were going to eat that shit. But I remember some families would do that. Cranberries too? What? That's weird shit. You think that would make, a juicy mess? But I don't know. I don't know.
Did you used to get those big old tins that were like this, and they were full of fucking popcorn?
There was a couple of years where that was like really in fashion, and people would do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Boy Scouts, they still sell those to this day. That's their like competition with the Girl Scouts, with their cookies. But man, that's no competition at all.
Yeah.
I never buy those cookies, but if I see them at somebody's house, I'll eat them because those cookies are fucking good.
Yeah. They're pricey, but they're good. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Shit about that popcorn, I don't know. But you mentioned Rockefeller Center earlier, and that's in the great city of New York. And have you ever been to New York?
No, I've never been up to the New England states.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. But that's the setting for the next thing I watched, which is called A Christmas Dream, starring Mr. T and Emmanuel Lewis.
Oh, it's gotta be great.
It was 80 something. Both of these cats were big stars at the time. Mr. T had this show called The A Team,
Mm-hmm.
and
Big fan.
yeah, he was in Rocky 3, kick old fucking Rocky Balboa's ass, but he got a little too cocky. He's here and there. He had a cartoon, he had a cereal, man.
Yes, the cereal was delicious.
Was it?
It was a lot like Corn Pops.
Okay. And Emmanuel Lewis, he had his own show too, and it was called Webster. And if I remember correctly, they were selling Webster dolls. It's not enough that it's just a guy with like some kind of disease that he can't grow or something, and they like made dolls of him. And I don't know who was getting that money, but I think this guy ended up destitute or something later on down the line. I don't know much about him. Don't quote me on that. Hey, Emmanuel, if you're still alive, man, sorry. Don't sue
Also, in the Bloodhound Gang song "Fire, Water, Burn," the popular song where they say the roof is on fire. I do believe that there's a lyric in that song where he says Webster, yeah, Emmanuel Lewis, because he's the Antichrist, because he says he's going to go to hell, and he mentions all the people that he's going to see. And yes, he mentions him in that song. So I digress. But go ahead, sir.
All right. So this is on YouTube, and somebody recorded the special commercials and all. So if you want to see what kind of washer dryers and dish washers they were selling at the time, and what was a popular snack, what shit advertised, it doesn't advertise now, but it's a pretty bad it's like an old VHS that they threw up on there. And Emmanuel Lewis, he's a latchkey kid. Do you know what that is?
Honestly, no, I never heard that term. What is that?
Okay, so these are this was a kid with working parents. He goes to school in the morning, probably rides the bus to school, and then rides the bus home or walks home or whatever. And he's got a little necklace with the key to his house or apartment on it. And so he can get in and, is there until mom or dad come home later to make dinner. Then he goes to bed and does it all the time. It's like, hey, man, people had to work. Sorry, kid. Shit, you're on your own for most of the day. That's cool. But not for old Emmanuel Lewis. It's got him upset, and he's just not feeling this whole Christmas thing. What? My parents are never home. My parents are never home. I can't enjoy Christmas. He's got an Emmanuel Lewis voice. I can't quite do it. I should have watched ahead so I could have practiced. But anyway, he runs into a street corner Santa Claus. That's Mr. T. Mr. T's ringing the bell, collecting money. You can throw money in this little box he has, or canned goods. I don't know. He's just collecting, And Mr. T, is like, well, you don't like Christmas? Well, come on. I'm going to show you around town, and I'm going to show you what Christmas is all about. Hold the fuck on. You're just going to take this kid and show him around town? Stranger danger, kid. But I guess people didn't worry about that back then. That's why so many people have trauma now. You know, because yeah,
PTSD's at an all-time high because people didn't listen to
uh,
what the people told them before.
especially those latchkey kids. If you were a latchkey kid, chances are you were molested by somebody.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
like, oh, you got a key to your own house and your parents aren't home?
right. You know, hey, you've already got a place. No, no good, man. No bueno. It's time.
You know, no plan was right.
So he takes him to the store and says, "Hey, check out all these cool toys. You know, you probably won't be getting any because your parents work so hard. And they, you know, probably just paying the rent and everything. But here's my friend David Copperfield. Sit down and talk with him. Are you familiar with this guy?"
This is the guy that made the Statue of Liberty disappear, right?
He did, man. He walked through the Great Wall of China too. You know, just walked through it. This guy is just like, I don't know, some kind of demon or something. And he's a weird looking cat, man.
Yeah, he is very weird looking. I always thought so too.
Yeah, he's
Almost like he's made up to look that way. Like, hey, I'm so just like a parody of somebody that would be a magician. That's what he looks like.
He looks like a sex offender or a rapist or something.
Yeah, that too. But I'm just saying, like, he just totally fucking gets like gives off these like sensational what's their names that have the tigers? Siegfried and Roy.
And Roy, there you go.
Yes, kind of like that.
Yeah, one of those tigers got tired of one of those guys' shit and fucking eat him up. Anyway, David Copperfield was a famous magician, and he does some rinky ass fucking dink magic tricks for Emmanuel Lewis. I don't remember what the first one was. The second one was he puts a cigarette through a quarter. You know, he's smoking a cigarette and, you know, pushes it through a quarter. Yeah.
That wouldn't fly these days because they don't like to encourage smoking around kids.
Right. Well, he mentions that. I don't usually smoke, but for the purposes of this trick, you know. Anyway, Mr. T comes back. Hey, you know, let's go over here. And he takes him to, some Broadway place, you know, and introduces him to somebody working the door there. I don't remember who it was, but then Lester and what the fuck was this guy? Willie Tyler and Lester. Do you know who that is? He's coughing it up over there, folks. Willie Tyler and Lester. You know who that is?
I feel like I should because I grew up watching this kind of stuff. Give me a hint.
Well, Willie Tyler, he's the most prominent, most world famous black ventriloquist. And in the 70s he was on every goddamn sitcom that featured black folk, you know, so he would pop up here and there, you know, the Jeffersons, the Love Boat,
Okay.
but he was on the goddamn Love Boat, you know, and old Emmanuel Lewis talks to him for a while. They crack some jokes. Oh, you're the dummy. Damn, those twists, man, they're so good. And he takes him backstage, introduces him to some lady that I have no idea who she was, but I guess she was a popular Broadway singer or something at the time, but she sounds like shit to me. I don't even remember what song she sang. All right, fuck it, let's get out of here. Or they go someplace else, and Emmanuel Lewis just falls asleep, and then we're in his dreams. And as you mentioned earlier, Rockefeller Center. He's with the Rockettes, and the Rockettes are doing like a little, I don't know, nutcracker type thing. You familiar with the Rockettes?
They're the dance trio of ladies, right?
Yeah. So they do a number, and he like goes out there and like marches around like he's a little nutcracker soldier or something, and is going to light a cannon, and he does it, but it's all off cue. He fucked that up. He probably only had one take that they could do it, and dude sucks. Emmanuel Lewis, shit. I know child acting, that's tough, but man, he Pretty lame. They watch some ice skaters and he's saying, no, I can't ice skate. It's Mr. T's like, oh, you think these two people could ice skate? And there's some professionals that come out there and they do a whole routine. But hey, Mr. T, they don't make fucking ice skates his size, I don't think, you know? It's like, come on, you're filling him with dreams that he can't achieve at this point. But I don't know, at the end he gets the Christmas spirit like Skeletor, like the cactus, and he sings a Christmas song. I don't remember which one it is, but it's in his Emmanuel Lewis voice. It's little town of Bethlehem, some crap like that. It's pretty bad. This whole special is bad. And here's one.
So they actually used his real voice. They didn't dub him over?
No, hell no.
Oh wow. Oh, I'll have to check that out.
No, this is not this shit's not good. But you'll keep watching because it'll be like, how much worse could this thing get? Oh, and then Mr. T reads a story, like parts of the kind of like a night before Christmas kind of thing, but it's not. And then, oh, who's here? Because they're at this Christmas party. Oh, look who showed up. It's Emmanuel Lewis's parents. Woo! They showed up to the party, and it's a fucking Merry Christmas for everyone. God bless us, everyone.
Jesus. Sounds like it's a little all over the place and just an excuse to get people that used to be famous all together on a show.
No. See, these people were all famous at the time. These people were big time. You know,
right?
Mentioned Mr. T, Emmanuel Lewis. This was during their heyday. And I don't even know. I meant to look it up. I don't know if the Rockettes still do their thing because that's like a New York institution. I imagine they do, but nobody talks about that shit. Nobody's like, oh, I want to go see the Rockettes. Man, nobody gives a shit about that.
I mean, they were on anything that went on over there in New York that was a big deal. That they were a part of it. As like, you know, the opening ceremony, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's something that, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a dream for like a lot of dancers, you know, that they wanted to be a Rockette, whatever.
They were the premier dance troupe. That was before like the, you know, cheerleaders for a specific football team got so fucking huge.
Yeah, before reality shows, you know, if reality shows were then, we would still have a Rockettes reality show.
Cross that one off. Okay, so Joe, I've got a couple of horror movies that I watched because I tried to spread things out a little bit this year, not just watch, you know, a certain genre of Christmas movie. So I watched a classic, and I never watched it before because I thought it would be too corny and I wouldn't laugh and I wouldn't like it. But I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And the only reason I started with 2 instead of 1 is because you literally get to see everything that happened in 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Scene for scene.
Exactly, yeah. They recap the whole damn movie.
The whole first part of the movie is just a recap of the first movie. So do not watch the first one. It is actually a little bit better to watch the second one because this guy, I will say this about it. The guy that plays the lead role, the brother of the killer of the first movie, is the showstopper of the whole movie for me. Like, I did not think I was going to think he was funny, but I guess there's a reason why people talk about this movie, and it's got to be that guy because there's so many silly, like, one-liners and, like, his sarcasm, his tone with stuff. Yeah, if you ain't seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, check it out. It's really good. It's not as garbage as a lot of people think it was.
Was this your first time seeing it?
Yeah, it's been a long... See, here's the thing. I think that most Christmas holiday movies that are horror movies, I don't usually watch them all because once you've seen one Killer Santa movie, you've seen them all. And particularly, in my opinion, my all-time favorite scary Christmas thing is the first episode of Tales from the Crypt. the what the fuck is it? Tom would know the name of this.
All Through the House.
All Through the House. Absolutely love that. That is like probably one of my all-time favorites when it comes to scary stuff on Christmas. But this is probably going to be like up there as one of my top 3, definitely, for like all-time horror Christmas movies.
Have you seen the first adaptation of All Through the House?
All Through the House. No.
Yeah, so there was a Tales from the Crypt movie, and that's one of the segments. And Joan Collins, Joan Collins, who was a big star at the time. You know, she's in it. She's the cheating wife. You know, the killer wife and shit. Good. It's a good adaptation. I'd say it's just as good as that first episode.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Doesn't she kill her? No. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. But back to the movie you watched. It's been a while since I've watched all the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, and they like redid one this year that I haven't watched.
And I went on a deep dive with them. I even got up to 5, but I'm not going to talk about the rest of them because they don't all follow a similar plot.
Yeah, I like them all for the most part. 1 and 2, they got a good amount of nudity in them too, so you know that's always good for a horror slasher flick. You know, you got to have the breasticles coming out, you know, and then killing people. Is 2 the one with Leanna Squiggly where she gets impaled on the fucking horns on the thing, or is that just a flashback sequence from part 1?
That's the flashback, I do believe, but the umbrella kill was new, and that was probably one that a lot of people talk about when he stabs a guy through with the umbrella and opens it at the
good flicks. I watched a horror movie and talked about this one on the BOYGOB podcast, but this was called Don't Open Till Christmas. And this is a British killer Santa Claus. But I didn't even know they celebrated Christmas in England. Did you know that?
I mean, I assumed because the Krampus story came from out there, and well, I mean, not from England, but it was a European folklore.
Yeah. So, like everything else, this is something that the British stole from the U.S., you know, is the Christmas traditions and stuff like that. But this is about a serial killer, a deranged madman that's going around killing Santa Clauses. Not the real Santa Claus. No, you can't kill him, but he's going around killing people dressed like Santa Claus. And in some cases, close to being undressed as Santa Claus. This one is another one with some not so great kills. Silent Night, Deadly Night definitely has better kills than this, but this one, this has some pretty good nudity, some British birds, as they're called over there, you know.
Yeah, they're called birds.
Yeah, did you know that
the other B word
that they call a flashlight a torch?
That's why they were saying that. And that, dude, my roommate Wampy's kids were over here, and there was a little girl on Peppa Pig, and they were talking about little girls walking around with torches, and I was like, hey, kids should not be playing with fire. And now it makes more sense because the torches would have been flashlights.
Yeah, wait till you hear what they call a cigarette, mate.
Oh, no. Well, we could talk about that later.
Yeah.
So I watched, was you done with that one?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay. I watched 2 Krampus movies. I watched the original, which I'd already seen before. Now, if you haven't seen Krampus, it's not bad. It's got some good actors in it. It's got that funny guy that played Champ from the Anchorman. The whammy guy. Whammy. Anyway.
David
he's
Allen.
Fucking hilarious.
That is.
Yeah. This one is your typical story of a little boy not enjoying his Christmas, and come to find out his grandma knows the story of Krampus and warns him. And she had to deal with Krampus the same way this little kid has to deal with Krampus throughout the whole movie. And it was a really bleak story. But it was another one where you wake up from football practice, where it was all just a dream. And by God, just like the Christmas Carol, even though it was all terrifying and you were like, oh my God. But in the end, again, their heart grew 3 times bigger and enjoyed the Christmas spirit through a bad fucking nightmare, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that happens a lot around Christmas.
Yeah, we've established that, I think, tonight especially, but over the past 7 years of doing this Christmas special, that is the Christmas trope. Like somebody whose soul is hardened to Christmas, but by movie's end, they've embraced the joy of that special season.
Yep, whether it's a near-death experience or just a bad dream. Wow. And then I watched Krampus Unleashed. Now this one, not made by the same company. Obviously just one of those shameless spin-offs to be like, hey, we're going to take the same name and make a movie and hope people will watch it like Bootleg and think it's a sequel to the original. This one was about some robbers that had stole some stuff. And lo and behold, back in like the 1800s or whatever, when this group of bandits stole this stuff, they stole something that belonged to the legend of Krampus. So when they later on in life, like these other thieves or treasure hunters go and dig this stuff up, they unleash Krampus and it becomes a slasher flick as opposed to a more Evil Dead-ish or, you know, some kind of like just spooky supernatural thing going on. It's just a creepy guy walking around looking like a Sasquatch with some muddy, dirty Christmas stuff on, killing people.
Question from the chat says, what did they steal?
Oh, I do believe it was gold that they were looking for, and there's probably a trinket or something in there that belonged to Krampus. I mean, they weren't very specific about it. Krampus, and I watched this whole damn movie, and it sucked so bad because they left so many holes in it. In the end, they had a relative that was related to the original gang of people that stole the stuff, and they basically kind of offer themselves up to be like, hey, you know, if you're mad at somebody, be mad at me because it was my people that did you wrong, Krampus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was a third movie, which it came on afterwards. I turned it off because it was like something about some. We don't even have to talk about it, but yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Something about like some 1800s like orphanage, and Krampus is haunting the kids in it. Whatever. But yeah, the Krampus movies, stick with one. Don't watch any of the other ones because it's gonna suck.
The orphanage, was there any like Emmanuel Lewis types in there?
I didn't see any Tiny Tims. No.
No. Did they at least talk like a Tiny Tim? Got any extra porridge, governor?
Slightly, but it was just not as energetic. Like not as old timely. It was more like just we're gonna kind of throw a little bit on there for you to think that we're pretending that this shit's, you know what I mean? It's just, man, you get what you pay for, and that's what's wrong with these generic slashers. Like Tom's saying, you're gonna get some shitty acting. You think if you ain't gonna have some on-screen kills and you ain't gonna have no nudity, because you got an orphanage full of kids, right?
So that was my next question on Krampus Unleashed. You said that turned into a slasher movie instead of a Krampus movie. So did it,
Yeah, there was boobs.
All right, yeah. So did Krampus Unleashed have some breasts unleashed?
Yes, unlike the original Krampus. That's the only thing it had going for it was there was just there was that. So, yeah.
Worth a
I do
watch.
believe it was a shower scene or something like that, which, that's a good way to show boobs.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. All right, cross them out. 2 more left.
Another one that we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the BOYGOB podcast, which you can see on YouTube, was the Magic Christmas tree from, I don't know what year, 60s maybe, and this was a independent feature from the 60s. And this is a fucking weird one because it takes place on Halloween. The kid meets a witch, local witch. Everybody has a witch in their town. And, he goes by her house and her cat's stuck up on a tree. And, help me get this cat down in the tree and I'll give you a treat or something special. He does, falls, knocks himself out, comes to, and oh shit, before everything was in black and white, now everything's in color. And she gives him some seeds. Hey, you can go plant a magic Christmas tree and it'll give you 3 wishes. And he wishes for some very selfish stuff, and then at the end of it all, like, there's a giant that wants to molest him. Not just a giant, he's described as a giant, it's just some big burly guy in the woods that wants to keep him as his own personal sex slave or something. Very odd movie. They had weird things going on in the 60s. Yeah,
I guess.
but eventually he wakes up back to black and white because it was all a dream.
Oh, see, there you go. There's the theme of the whole damn.
All a dream, a Christmas
dream.
dream.
And let me guess, his heart grew 3 times larger after that dream.
Well, he learned not to be a selfish prick. I don't think he really, grew more giving and caring or anything, but he learned a lesson or two. Don't want to get raped, for sure.
Especially not by some big burly man in the woods.
Right. Oh.
Probably doesn't have any baby oil in his house.
Right. If it was like, I guess, a less burly, then I guess maybe he'd have been cool with it. But no, I don't know.
Somebody that's more persuasive.
Yeah,
and has lubrication like P. Diddy.
A silver tongue, as they say.
Yes.
A tinsel silver tongue.
Mm-hmm. There you go. See? Joe, I watched one action flick, and I'm not sure if I really liked watching this action flick or not, because I was just like blown away by its corniness. I watched Killer Racoons 2, Dark Christmas in the Dark. This was literally a parody of Under Siege 2. I think it was called Dark Siege or something. I don't remember what it was. Something. It was the one where Steven Seagal's trying to commandeer a train.
Okay, they're on a train. I said the first.
Yes. First one's on a boat, yes, and had oh man, the first one. There's a reason why I like that first one, and it's the cake scene.
Yeah, I think it's Erica Eleniak.
I figured you knew who she was.
Yeah. Very nice girl from that era, the early 2000s.
Okay, I seen somebody in the chat say this was a fucking awesome movie, the real deal, huh?
Everyone loves this. I think this was made Tom's best of the year that it was released.
Oh my god, man! The guns and the raccoons. Breaking kayfabe for a second. These things weren't even taxidermied. These were just stuffed raccoons, like stuffed animal raccoons with like, they weren't even plastic guns. They looked almost like balloon guns that looked like they were drawn with a white marker to look like guns. I mean, it's just weird how they looked, but they were shooting the shit out of everybody, and there was fucking CG blood everywhere. The acting in it, oh my god. This was something that it's along the lines of a spoof movie, but not quite. It's like, can a spoof movie really take itself? I mean, you know how a spoof movie will take itself serious, and you're supposed to be like, oh wait, but that's funny.
Yeah.
This movie like throws that out the window too. It's like we're gonna spoof and know that we're doing stupid shit and
So
not take.
it has a laugh track, is what you're saying.
Well, it should. It would make the movie even better, I think. In my opinion, it would make the movie a little bit better if it had the laugh track. Because there's moments when I'm watching it and I'm like, did they really just do that? Was I supposed to laugh at that fourth wall joke there? Like, you know what I mean? So I think if I watched it again and paid a little bit more attention to things other than the off the wall shit that was going on in it, then I might get it a little bit better. But the first time watching it, holy fuck, was I blown away. Now, you said it. You think it made a list. Now, did it make a good list or did it make a worse list?
Knowing Tom, because he's a big supporter of independent cinema, it made a good list.
I could see that with the humor in it, though.
And the thing with Tom is he's always making a list and checking it twice.
Now, see, I should have watched this movie twice because the first time it seemed like it's like if you were to take Under Siege, Cocaine Bear, and Hot Shots Part 2 and throw it all in a blender and burp this out.
He loves all those. So this is probably why he liked this movie so much.
Well, next year I think I might stick with Die Hard.
Yeah, or Under Siege 3, the one where he's on a Zeppelin.
Oh my God, is Seagal in that one too?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I stopped watching Seagal after he tried to beat up DMX. Remember that? Remember when he tried to beat up DMX in the stunt scene?
For that, but Under Siege 3, Hot Air, it's fucking great.
Hot Air. Okay, I'll take your word for it, man. Couldn't be any worse than Speed 2, Cruise Control, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
William Dafoe kicked ass in that.
Oh, we can't get this boat under 3 miles per hour. We'll blow up or some shit.
Santa Sharknado, though. That'd be a good one. All right.
So, I'm sorry. Were you finished with the?
Yeah, I'm finished with that one. I got one more thing to talk about. Is what I watched earlier today. I figured we could go a little bit over Christmas Vacation a little bit at the end.
Okay, well then I'm gonna skip this one because it sucked anyway. Our Xmas from Abel Ferrara, piece of shit. I talked about it. If you want to go listen to the Boy God podcast, I talked about it on there. Not good. But I thought you also watched Santa Claus with Dudley.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that on my list. I did watch Santa Claus, Joe, and if you want me to bring that up, we can. Santa Claus the movie.
Yeah.
This held a lot of nostalgia for me as a kid because when I was a kid, there's like certain movies that when they came out, they were pushed so hard by media at the time that, I mean, you couldn't see a magazine without it on it. Like E.T., that's a good example. When I was a kid, E.T. was the fucking movie to watch. And my dad tried to take me to it, and the scene where he tries to get him to come out of the shed, I guess I freaked out, and he said he had to take me out of the theater because I thought that I went to a different movie, and I was scared. I don't know. I had it in my head that we went to the Return of the Living Dead or some shit, and anyway. So he had to take a 5-year-old bootleg out of the theater screaming and crying because I thought I was at a scary movie. So anyway.
But at least you confronted that shame, you know.
Yes, he did. He refused to go home though. So instead of leaving the theater, we moseyed on over and watched Back to the Future. So my first movie experience ever was Back to the Future 1.
Just kind of snuck in, movie hopped.
Movie hopped over. Yes.
Yeah, all right.
And it worked because that was a good movie and I actually enjoyed it, and actually a much better flick than E.T. in my opinion.
You kind of like wiped your tears. Fuck E.T.
Yeah. I had a bad anyway. Back to the movie.
Marty. Yeah.
I would have been sad anyways by the end of E.T. You know, because of the whole like, oh, he's sick and dying and all that shit. Yeah. But anyway, This movie was no different. Santa Claus the movie was pushed to the fucking moon when it came out. The year it came out, Coca-Cola had a big thing with it. I can't remember if it was either McDonald's, Burger King, or Hardee's had a big fucking promotion with it too. They were selling the cups. Remember when they used to sell the glass clear cups with the stuff on it? They were selling that shit. They were selling they had those fancy candles from the movie. They were selling those in the stores and shit.
There was ads in comic books too. The back cover, which probably the most expensive ad you can buy in comic book, probably cost like $500 to run the whole line in Marvel. But I remember that on that shit.
And this had Meredith. What's his last name? From Rocky.
Oh, Burgess Meredith.
Yes, Burgess Meredith, and then also Dudley Moore and John Lithgow is the evil head of the corporation that wants to use the.
Well, tell me, what's this shit all about? I've seen parts.
It's a freaking weird movie. It's hard to follow. Okay, so like Santa Claus and his wife, before he's like really Santa Claus, they're looking for a new home. I guess they're just out and about in a sleigh, and they're gonna die because it's cold, and the elves save them. Right? They show them where the North Pole is, so they get there. They show up, and the reindeer. I want to talk about the reindeer. Best part of the movie is the reindeer. They get high as fuck on this gold substance, and it makes them fly. Yes, they make them eat whatever gold flake drug that they're making them consume, and then they look all happy and excited after they do it, and then the next thing you know, they're flying through the air.
Do the reindeer talk?
They made noises, but that was the thing. Much like the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, for a lot of kids, that was like the peak of that movie. Mm-hmm. I would say that the peak of this movie would be just the close-ups of the reindeer and how cool they look, because the animatronic work on them was like basically top tier then, and they were a good pushing device for the show too. I'm sure when they did like stuffed animals for the movie or whatever, it was all reindeer.
Is there a Rudolph?
No, but they had the other ones.
Okay.
All the other ones were there. But so the head of the elves, Patch, played by Dudley Moore, gets the idea that he wants to do his own thing and leaves the North Pole. And why he's out doing his own thing, because he made a mistake. I guess he was outcasted in a way. So he's out trying to do his own thing, redeem himself for Santa Claus so he can come back. And near the end, he runs into John Lithgow and wants to help him. John Lithgow realizes he's dealing with some weird, crazy stuff here because, there's magic involved. There's this. And Dudley Moore is trying to recreate the factories in the North Pole so he can make toys for this company at a very cheap cost so all the kids can have toys. But John Lithgow's character is like, no, I want to make money, this is about making money, not making kids happy. And man, John Lithgow's just over the top. You want to see the most over the top John Lithgow character other than in Footloose? This is it right here. I'm telling you. Unhinged, dude. Anyway, there's a big lawsuit going on in the middle of this movie too, dealing with him and the toys and this, that, and the other. Dudley Moore, I think his character ends up having like some kind of flying car that he's riding around in, but then his crystals are getting low. He might crash or something, Santa Claus got to go out there with half his reindeer. He doesn't have all of them, so he's got to make sure they're super juiced up on that stuff, and then they go out and save Dudley Moore's ass. It just made Christmas in the North Pole seem like a weird thing, dude.
Okay, so
but also one last thing. Right. This was the last really cool movie when it came to sets too. The big ass sets that they put together for the North Pole had to be all handmade, dude. This had to be all constructed and put together in some kind of big sound stage, because my God, they did a great job with that too. I will say that those are the two things: the reindeer animatronics and the sets for the North Pole were really done well.
Okay, so one thing we talk about on our show, BOYGOB, which you can see on YouTube, is nostalgia. And you mentioned like that this was your shit when you were a kid. Like you were all about this movie.
Nobody would take me to the theater to see it, but here's the thing. Every time it was on TV after that, because, you know, the next year it would be on TV as like, oh, this Christmas special movie of the night, you know, from last year, the big movie, the Santa Claus movie. Yes, we would watch it, or it'd be on VHS and we'd watch it every year. And I don't know, it's just one of those things like when Space Jam came out, you know, media did a good job of making you feel like you had to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You missed out, and if you were a kid, if you didn't go see Ninja Turtles when it came out in theaters, and you heard all the other kids talking about it before you got to see it, you know?
Yeah, like the Birdcage.
Yeah. Birdcage is a good example too for people.
Yeah. So one thing we talk about is quite a bit is it's okay not to like the shit now that you liked so much as a kid, and you're saying you felt that with this movie.
Yeah, this was one of those first movies that I watched again and was like, yeah, this don't cut the cake like it used to.
So I remember the
Rose tinted glasses when I was a kid is what it was.
Some people don't let go of that. Some people won't admit, hey, this sucks, you know. But after the success of this movie, I think maybe the following year they did a movie called Prancer, which I've never seen, but I remember this had just as big a push for that holiday season. Like, this is going to be the greatest Christmas movie you ever saw. And it was about a reindeer, you know, Prancer was his name. Did you ever see that one?
I didn't see that one, but I've heard of it.
Right, yeah. I think it's a movie that everybody's heard of, but nobody, absolutely nobody has seen.
Like, I've heard of The Wiz, but I don't think I've actually watched it all the way through.
I've seen that piece of shit. Even as a kid, I thought that sucked. You know, it's weird. That's a Sidney Lumet movie. He does mainly courtroom dramas and police corruption movies. And here he does fucking The Wiz. God damn, that sucks.
Man. Well, Joe, I just got done watching before I took my nap before the episode because, again, I work thirds. I watch Christmas Vacation because I watch it every damn Christmas season. Because if I had a top 3 Christmas movies, this would be probably near the top of the list. Every year I watch it because there's always something I catch in it that I find funny that I didn't catch before, even though I've seen it year after year after year. I remember this was one of those movies. I don't know how many of you out there that are watching this have had an adult in the house that's hard to make laugh.
At least 2 people, I would say.
Yeah. Like, I had a stepdad that was a real motherfucker. He didn't want to laugh at nothing. He didn't think nothing was funny. But boy, when we'd watch this movie or Tommy Boy, you would get belly laughs out of this wicked, wicked man, right? So I enjoy this movie because it makes me laugh. And I remember if it could make my mean ass stepdad laugh, then it's got to be fucking funny. And it is a funny fucking movie, man. I mean, just even at the end of the movie, it threw me off when I was watching it today when the cop said, if I had a rubber hose, I would beat the... I was like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Like, you just catch the weirdest shit in that movie. And I was going to ask you this, Joe, do you think that might be the best vacation movie?
Oh, definitely. It is, like you, this is one of my go-tos, but I usually watch this one with my mom. So I'll be watching this one next week. And it's like, you know, it's love to see my mom happy, you know, and this movie makes her laugh and she loves it. And that's part of why I dig it so much. But even besides that, it's just a funny movie. Who plays, is this the one with Juliette Lewis or is this
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Juliette Lewis is the daughter in this one. Beverly D'Angelo was a gorgeous woman, you know, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in this as well, you know. Yeah, just some funny shit.
Yeah, Raymond's mom.
Yeah.
From Everybody Loves Raymond. And also the old man from that played the cat from hell.
Yeah.
In the Tales from the Dark Side, the old man in the wheelchair. He plays Lewis, who burns up the tree because it got too dry because the dog drank the water.
Yeah, Randy Quaid, he's great in this, and he was one of the best parts of the first Vacation movie, so it was cool that they brought him back. They made a Christmas Vacation 2, just with him, which I've not seen and probably shouldn't. Sure, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, maybe we can review that one next year.
Next year, we've been avoiding that one for 8 years, so maybe in year 9 we can finally tackle that one.
Absolutely.
What up, Joe?
Hey, Womp Thing says hi, Joe.
What up, Womp?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I watched so far, and I'm sure I'll watch some more. But man, I gotta say, ending it with Christmas Vacation was at least peak. And yeah, Joe, I hope we can do this again next year.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. We want you all to have a Merry Christmas, and make sure Bootleg pimp your shit before we get out of here.
Oh yeah. We will be back January 5th with the new.
Hey, go on over to YouTube and watch the old BOYGOB podcast. Yep, you got me and this other schlub named Tom, and we review movies, not just Christmas movies, but all kinds of movies. And you know when the show is over because we always say, BOYGOB.
Me? Am I going?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Oh, this gag never gets tired. Never. But, having some technical... Oh, but he's back.
BOYGOB. No, but seriously. Every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Woo! Merry Christmas. Oh, little town of Bethlehem. That's the only lyric I know from that song. I don't... Christmas music is the worst. There he is. Oh, shit. At least he still has his shorts on.
Oh! I've done said it. BOYGOB.
BOYGOB. They say.
A big old gobber boy.
Yeah. Gob boy, BOYGOB. Love you, Tom. And have a Merry Christmas, sir. Whoop, whoop. Ay, because that's what juggalos say. Get you some Bad Touch gloves at badtouchsupply.com.
I can't believe they're laughing about that. It's just like children. Yeah.
Don't laugh at anything, Joe.
It's a Christmas show. Oh, hey. Hey.
So that was the fucking show. Shout out to Bootleg and Joe. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good fucking night. Happy holidays, bitch.